From CBS News, 22-year-old man charged with threatening to kill New Hampshire Governor Kelly Ayotte. How do you pronounce that? Ayotte?
Yeah, Elaad.
Ayotte?
Elaad.
You live there, not me.
Elaad.
A 22-year-old man is in custody after police say he threatened to kill New Hampshire Governor Kelly Ayotte. Tristan Anderson of Hooksett, New Hampshire, is charged with criminal threatening and harm or threats to certain government officials. The criminal complaint against Anderson, released Thursday, alleges that he didn't knowingly threaten to commit the crime of homicide and or assault against Governor Kelly Ayotte, the current governor of the state of New Hampshire, for the purpose of influencing such officials' actions or in retaliation for action taken as part of such government's official duties. He was allegedly messaging with a woman on Snapchat saying he was going to target the New Hampshire mayor, Kelly Ayotte, with my weapon of mass destruction. He had also made anti-Semitic remarks in the messages as well. Yeah. The woman told police that Anderson owned guns and that he had made mention of making pipe bombs. Anderson allegedly had shown the woman metal tubes he was using to make the bombs, as well as nuts and bolts he was going to put in them. Police said Anderson had allegedly bought fireworks and taken them apart to create pipe bombs. He was arrested August 28th and remains in custody without bail, pending his next court appearance. Ayotte is a Republican who previously senator, defeated the Democrat. They reached out to Ayotte's office for comment. His arrest happened before the murder of Charlie Kirk, but it was revealed during a heated national debate about political violence. If every policy that is being promoted by your rivals is some kind of existential threat and a catastrophe in the end of the republic, that further intensifies this kind of emotional stress. It sounds like what they are saying from this story is that this was a politically motivated death threat or threat against the governor because he did not like what she was doing.
Yeah, I mean,
what is happening that yesterday several cops are shot, ICE agents are nearly getting run over and then shoot and kill the people. Like, these stories are almost every single day now, if not every single day. And the scary thing is the desensitization to them. There's another story that I will attach to this one because we don't have the full details. Tony Gonzalez staffer, death under investigation. Her body was on fire. I don't want to die, she told her mother who found her. They don't say what happened. They say they're not suspecting foul play, but it is currently under investigation. So I am very curious how a Republican staffer was found immolated, saying, I don't want to die. And they're like...
That's very odd. Do you know who's running against him, by the way?
Who is it?
Brandon Herrera.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, totally. On the heels of this story, does that make you reconsider your security arrangements while campaigning?
I mean, I don't have any option. I don't have any money, man. I mean, I guess if I could go higher, I've got a couple of guys who've said, I'll go out with you and, shadow you and try to help you if something happens. I appreciate that. But and who wants to live like that? I'm not running for president of the United States. I'm running for lieutenant governor of Virginia. I shouldn't have to have 24-hour security. I should be able to get in the car like I did to come see you guys and not worry about it. I'm just not going to live that way, And I'm going to be careful. But, I mean, it's crazy. And you know what the problem is? Yes, these stories are happening every day. But if you go back to 2020, people thought I was overreacting on my radio show. I was like, why are we not shutting this down? We've got cops being ambushed and assassinated in Dallas, I think, when the BLM Antifa riots first started. We had... the police in Richmond, Virginia, went into their precinct. Nobody even reported on it. They didn't even bother. They set the building on fire with the cops inside. People have not been prosecuted. The United Daughters of the Confederacy Museum and Library in Richmond. I mean, maybe you hate the Confederacy. Maybe you hate those little old ladies who run the... I don't know. But that was firebombed. And no one has ever been arrested or prosecuted. What signal does that send? It says we don't care. It says as a culture... we're willing to tolerate this. And we should hammer these people, regardless of whether they're on the right or the left. And we should also be honest that most of it is coming from the left. Most of it is coming from the left. And so you have an entire generation of people who've been raised to think, if I personally get spun up about something and hate something or hate somebody, then it's okay to go after them. And that's on us. As a society, and the leaders who've been in place who haven't had the guts because they were afraid they'd be called a racist or they're afraid they'd be called a homophobe or they were afraid of being called a name, they didn't stand up and hammer these bad guys. So now we're all suffering.
I know you have a race coming up. I don't know if you wanted to touch on it a little bit. Early voting starts tomorrow. Why should people in Virginia vote for you?
Well, what I just said. I think I'm one of the few people over the last several years who's, in Virginia at least, who's had the guts to say what needs to be said and not be worried about being called names. I've been called names my whole life. You're not gonna upset me with that, and you're not gonna back me down from that. And I think it's not like I'm proposing anything that's outrageous or unusual. It's called obey the law. And I don't think we have draconian, crazy laws in Virginia, certainly, and I don't even think in the United States we have crazy laws. Just obey the law. And those laws are based on treating everybody with some basic level of respect, not harming the other person. We've lost it all.
Let me ask, I understand no matter what happens in your race, people are going to view it as a bellwether about what's going on in the country. And people...
Well, I've reminded the people in D.C. about that. Yeah, November 5th, whatever happens in Virginia and New Jersey will be discussed as a harbinger for what Trump's given.
It'll be viewed as a referendum on the president. What do you think of the president? If you had to give him a grade, what would you give him on how he's governing so far?
I voted for Trump 3 times. I don't regret that. He's a controversial guy. I don't even argue with people when they want to bring up his personality. I'm like, I'm not debating his personality. I will discuss the policies. And I do think he's implementing policies that will put us, I pray to God, in a better situation. No one wants to talk about being $37 trillion in debt. Mm-hmm. I mean, look at Greece, look at Italy, look at other countries filled with smart people. They have had economic collapses that have burdened the citizens because they just didn't rein in their spending and their financial obligations. And I think Trump is the first person to step up and try to do that. Now, there's pain associated with it. It's a bad situation. It doesn't feel good, but nobody can run a government making everybody feel good. You have to make some tough decisions sometimes.
I know one of his biggest initiatives has been on immigration. He's quadrupled the funding towards ICE. Do you support what he's doing across the country? I think reaching for 1 million deportations a year of illegal aliens here.
We all have to obey the law. We all have to obey the law. So if you're here, it's not like this just came up yesterday. We've been talking about it for a decade or more. When I worked in the Senate, 2004, 2005, 2006, we were talking about whether we could secure the southern border. Mm-hmm. For God's sake, no one pulled it off until Trump arrived. Now, there are consequences. I have friends who are here illegally, and I said, man, here's the name of a lawyer. He's a Democrat, not even a Republican. He will help you get your paperwork straight. But if you sit around and don't do it, you're going to be booted out of the country. Do you understand that? And a lot of people blew me off and said, I don't think so. Everything's cool. No, it's not. You've got to obey the law. We all have to obey the law.
I know your neighbors to the north in Maryland, they're having this issue with the so-called Maryland man that all the Democrats seem to be going to visit, Mr. Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Have you heard about that case? What people say Trump is overstepping there. Do you think the president was overstepping?
It's not overstepping. It's not overstepping at all. Look, there should be one day where we say, are you documented? Have you taken care of the responsibilities you have? And if the answer is no, I'm so sorry. I'm a nice guy. I don't like to hurt people, but you're going to have to go. And when I lived in Kuwait, for God's sake, I was the head of international development for a firm. They put me in Kuwait. I think if I remember correctly, my visa was for 60 days, my work visa. You can bet I was out of there on day 58 because I wasn't going to let anybody in that country claim that I was missing the deadline. So I left on the 58th day and then stayed away for a week and then came back. That was my obligation. Look, everybody's going to obey the law. And if you've ever traveled around the world, you know that the rest of the world is not very nice about it.
One of the ways that you would be a trailblazer if elected is that you would be the first openly gay lieutenant governor, I believe, across the country. Can you talk a little
bit? Statewide elected official in Virginia, and no Republican who's gay has ever been elected statewide, ever. Democrats have been doing it.
Are Virginian Republicans ready for a gay lieutenant governor?
I think they are ready for a solid conservative, and that's me. The fact that I'm gay is, I'm not going to lie to you, there's some people who are upset about that, but I can't help them. I mean, I worked for Ronald Reagan. I was comms director for George Allen. I've spent the last 8 years standing up for everything Christian conservatives are concerned about and believe in, most of which I completely correspond with. So I think a lot of people were skeptical when I first started running, like, oh my God, we can't cross this line. And then they got to know me. They went back and listened to the 9,000 hours of broadcast time where I stood up for them and the things they believe in. And now they're like, well, damn, how crazy is it that there is a gay Republican who actually has the balls to stand up and say what needs to be said and to defend us and defend law and order. And I think that counts.
There are many gay Republicans, I think most prominently Scott Bessent. I feel like there is a non-insignificant minority in the Republican Party, though, who is questioning the Obergefell decision. How would you respond to a Republican who says, I can't support you because of your sexuality? Have you come across that on the campaign?
Oh my gosh, there have been plenty of people who have said that. And I've said, well, when it was the primary time, of course, it's your vote. You get to decide whether I represent you well enough or not, or whether I match up. I would ask them to actually search their soul as to whether have you ever voted for a candidate that you thought was perfect? I mean, really, I voted for my dad 9 times. And we didn't agree on everything. I didn't think he was perfect, but he represented me by and large the way I wanted him to. I made the argument that was me in this case. And then, now that I am the nominee, I have said to some people, well, now you got 2 choices. You can go with the gay guy that you really don't like, but yeah, he's with you. Or you can vote for the radical leftist who's, a Muslim and wants to put girls in jeopardy in their locker room and wants boys to play on girls' sports and voted to keep the schools closed for an extra year and the mask mandate. I mean, she's everything you say you hate, but what, you can't vote for me? And I actually have stood up for you overnight as a proven thing. It's not like a hypothetical. I mean, that's a moral dilemma that you have to make. I don't know.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.